It's a new week at the TTHQ. Say a new week, it's a Tuesday. Monday I was doing a bit of head scratching. So I've got a customer who has a tractor unit here and he wants some halos fitting in the grille. And he supplied the halos, he supplied the brackets, and he also wants his beacons fitting in the cab roof through the air kit. Now, believe it or not, I've never actually fitted beacons through the air kit before. Don't ask me why, it's just something that I've never had to do whilst working on the trucks I've done. So they've always had them on the bars or whatever. So yes, the anxiety was running very high because the truck in question, if you're going to start drilling holes in air kits, that's the truck to do it on. The big 770 ST. No pressure, eh? So anyway, I've got his halos in yesterday. Now, he got a bar from Kelsa. Got a bar from Kelsa, I think, to mount them on. But because this is a T-cab, it wasn't that straightforward. Where they'd normally fit it, I can't get to it because there's a reinforcing bar run through there. So I've had to adapt that bracket to fit the T-cab. So that's it, and I've run that cable in the cab. Unfortunately, this cab hasn't got beacon prep. And trust me, I have looked and looked and prayed and looked and I could not find anything. So I'll have to do her from fresh, I think. She's all stripped out, ready to go. Now, this is where the anxiety starts building up. I, as in me, have got to drill holes through that air kit to mount his beacons, which are I'm stressing out about it, you know. If you're going to drill holes in a Scania, why not be in a T-cab of all vehicles? So, because I've been stressing out about it, I've been winding myself up really. I don't know why I do it. I always do. So I've got a ladder at the back of the cab, which I have put rags around so I'm careful not to damage that cab. You undo them bolts, you mount that, which is the bracket that comes from Kelsa, bolt them back up. In here, they supply little nutserts. My nutsert gun I ordered yesterday, so it's not going to be here till 2 days time. But at least if I can get the holes there, get everything mounted so I know it works, I can then just, once everything's bolted to it, I can mark through them where nutsert's got to go, unbolt that, take the beacon back out then. So I've got to, I'll come out there, run the cable down. I've got a choice where I run the cable on here. There's no grommets up here, so I may take it down and go over to that grommet just in front, or I'll bring it down and run it through that gap, then go for that grommet up the front, maybe. But here's the thing, so on this, my plan is pilot through there, all the way through at the top with a little small pilot hole, so I know that'll be in the centre of that bracket. Then I've got my big 6-inch 152mm hole, so I can then drill from the top while standing on top of a ladder. What could possibly go wrong in this scenario? So the trick is, I've got a Sharpie which is the same size diameter as the cable hole in the centre of the bracket. Pen up, keeping it level. Mark the hole, I don't know if you see that in there. hole away from it, so too late now. This is well stressful. Well stressful. Right, now I've got to wind the air kit down, and then I can drill from the top with my other drill. I mean, what really could go wrong here? Just balancing on top of the ladder. Tell you what, I'm actually set up in the middle of the cab. I'm going to move it one side, drill that, come the other side, drill that, and I'm in much more control. Rather than overstretch it, just like my talents currently. It's the outer skin. There you go. There you go. Right, let's go again. There you go. I wasn't scared one bit. I knew it was going to go that easy. I really did. I don't want to be doing this again in a hurry, I'll tell you. Oh look, you're going to get an extreme close-up of me sweating at the thought of doing this wrong. Oof. Got the centre out, let's go again. There you go. That is that drilled. Suppose I better get a beacon, make sure it's in the right place. Now, I know that hole saw is a bit tight for the rubber grommet, so put the rubber underneath. What I've realised is, in there, you got a plug and then you've got that tail. But what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to repin that with a longer lead so it's a continuous lead inside the vehicle so there's no joins outside, reducing the chances of water ingress in the joint, because there won't be a joint. Right, you can see live how far out this is. Actually I'm going to lift that air kit up. I've got to get a sanding pad around there really. Here we go again. There you go. Boom. She's in. She's in. Don't know what all the fuss is about all the time. It's not that hard, is it? I think it's just anxiety 11 out of 10 when drilling something like that. I know it's not a cab roof, it's only an air kit, but at the end of the day, I don't want to be paying for a new air kit out of my pocket if I don't have to, because that makes the job non-profitable, which means I shouldn't bother coming in that day. That don't sit well with me. You rejoin me, a day has passed since I was drilling holes in the top of the T-cab for the beacons. Now, a lot of head scratching went on. A lot of head scratching going on. So I'm waiting for a three-way switch from Scania to come in. So customer wanted his strobes in the grill, which are in there, which are halos, and he also wanted his beacons on the roof. So the three-way switch is, you have your neutral position, push it up, so when you flash your headlights, your beacons come on as well. And then when you push it down, it's beacons only. So how that works, took some working out, but I think we're there. Had a little phone call, little WhatsApp message with someone I know. They looked into it and I was on the right track. So it's a headlight feed to the switch, and then out the top there, and then off the bottom it is your beacon feeding to the switch. So I've managed to get it done, but I'm still waiting for the switch to come in. So I've just bodged in a couple switches. So effectively that there is going to be the equivalent of a three-way switch, but I've done it so in my mind it's all working out correctly. So if I show you, when I flash my lights, you should see a strobe. There you go. And that seems to be working. So if I just put my full beam on and keep it on, so you got your halos in there, your white halos with beacons in the middle. She looks good. And then, oh yeah, top beacons are working. As you can see, reflection on the trailer. That seems to be working. I just need my three-way switch and then we're sorted. So when I had my son here for a day, I had him cutting the angles and drilling them. He didn't finish drilling them. So I might just finish up on them. I've now got the bolts, so I can start bolting them on, and then I could take them over to Wayne later on when they're done. I've got to phone Wayne, see what's going on. I don't know if he's painting that Volvo I've just finished or what's occurring. See, the old beacon's better for me. Excellent. I need to map out on the floor the pit steps, because I need to order that material and get the quotation in today. So I'm going to draw that out on the floor. You can watch while I do that, just to see my process, what I do. I'll draw it out here. One of my famous sketches on the floor, as I do like to do. So you may remember on a previous episode you would have seen all this done when I was in the pit measuring it up. So I'm now going to transfer this drawing, diagram, sketch, whatever you want to call it, onto the floor in real scale, so I can work out what materials I need. So what I'm going to do, that back wall of the pit is going to be that crack in the floor, and then I'm going to square a line off at 915mm. Right, I think it's going to be very tricky to show you. So I have this line all the way across here, which is your pit floor. So this is again a side-on view, as I roughly sketched out there. It's 915 from there to there. That's how big he wants it maximum. I divided that by 3 because there's 3 steps. It's 305 per step. So he's now gained, he's actually gained that much per tread. So it's a better footfall. So that is actually, yeah, 1 foot across there, 305 mil. So that makes that better. And then from the pit floor to the top floor level of the workshop had 1.30 meters. So with 1.30 meters, I divided that by 4 because you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. That gave me 257 mil. So each step is 257 mil. And then I'm going to put a handrail up, 900 from that point to the top of his handrail, same there to there, and then we'll just follow that along. So last week was a bit of a scrappy week for me, so to give you a bit of a oh god, sorry, the car's overtaken going around bends. Great stuff, well done people. Last week I got real bad sciatica, which is it's my nerves nip up in my back, which sends shooting pain down top of my leg, into my calf, and it is excruciating pain. Now when you break your foot, as I well know, that pain, you know you're in pain and you can see why you're in pain. When you got sciatica, you don't. You just think, what on earth's wrong with me? You ain't got a single mark on you, not done nothing. It's just that one of my nerves has nipped up in my back, and they say it could last for a couple months and you just got to push through it. Well, got to get on with it, so I'm going to try, but I don't want to be climbing in and out of lorries. So Tim has kindly I say, set me up with a nice job that's all from ground level. I can sit on my chair possibly. Not sure that's how that works, but this is how he was selling it to me, and I can roll around on it doing it. So when I get to the workshop, I'll show you what it is. It's a very Trucker Tim type-esque job. So what I'm trying to say is, does it need doing? No. Does he just want it doing because he's thought of it in his head? Yes, that's exactly what's happened. So bear with. When we're there, I will show you what the project in hand is, and I'll just do a little bit of filming on that. I think we'll have a nice chilled out day filming that and trying to get that done as best we can. Back at HQ now. I'll get the lights turned on and then I will reveal the next little project I'm doing. Oh, I'm in a bit of pain today, so you'll have to bear with while I'm struggling around a bit. So here's the next little project. So as I was saying, you'll see I've taken the seats off already because I needed to see if it was even possible what he was asking me to do. Of course it's possible. Everything's possible, I suppose, in a way. It's just how easy it would be or not. So he's asked me to extend this wheelbase. He wants an extra 1.2 meters in here, so it's a scaled version of a T-cab. The Eurolink T-cab we got in the workshop actually. So I mean, this has got a bonnet on it, and he's on about having another, so that row of seats will still be there. I'll put 1.2 in here and then another row of seats there, but all these linkages I'm going to extend. Now what I was going to do is take the fuel tank out, radiator out, and I was going to cut it there, leaving this mudguard on here, cut it there, move it all forward, and then I'll extend the water hoses forward. But over the weekend I thought, no, why don't I just leave all that where it is and just extend these linkages forward? So I could cut that bracket off there, mount that on one at the front, and it would just be the bar that links it all up to the brakes on there, and then the gear shifter to the gearbox. I could just extend that. So I think that's what I'm going to do. It keeps changing every second, but there you go. So I've got to have a look at this. So means rolling round on my board, looking underneath. It's quite heavy, so it's not as though I can pick it up and put it on axle stands. The wiring loom for the ignition, that will run back in here somewhere. There, see it up the middle. And then you'll have throttle cable and then the brake cable, and that should be all that's underneath running. That hour meter will probably take a feed off the ignition, so yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. So I'll come back when I'm all set up and ready to go. Like a dear old man today. I'll put it back together so you can roughly see what it looked like before I started. When I say roughly put it back together, I mean I'll just chuck the seats back in it and drop the back down. But that give you a bit of a scope. So I'm now going to have to start stripping this down, and I have no clue whatsoever what's the best way of doing it. So I thought, if I'm going to record this, I'm going to do it and try and voice my thought process the whole way through. Obviously not too much of it, because I don't want my thoughts about why I'm doing this, what goes through Tim's head, to be voiced too much, because we'll never have that answer. So because I'm cutting through there, I think I'm going to pull that mat out, I'm going to unbolt the bonnet so I can get to all the wiring harness, throttle linkage, brake linkage underneath, or under the dash here. So we'll get that off, we'll get that mat out so I can see. Hang on. There you go. Oh my. Oh my, oh my. Not as easy as anticipated. Very tricky. There's a tray underneath, and I believe the cables and the loom runs through the tray, and it's all a steel enclosed tray. So it's like a ducting run underneath there, but it's acting as your chassis as well. It's all fully welded up, so it's not as easy as taking some bolts there. So what have I got? You probably by now would have seen, I've already had this bonnet off once in one of Tim's videos, because I'll give him a LED light conversion, as he broke one of his bulbs out. And I thought, well, we've got some LED in stock, but they do point a bit high, so I'll also change that. And then I'm going to make a little light bar on the front, put some spotlights on there. Why? He doesn't ask these things, but I know he'll want it later on, so I'll just might as well bite the bullet while I'm working on it. Do it now. It's not nice getting old. what we've got then is, so this is the, it's a bit tricky to show you, see. That is a pressing that runs front to the first axle, so that's like your chassis rail as such, and then you've got that floorboard on top that's welded across it. And you've got a hole in the front there, so we've got, here's your brake cable there running through the centre, which is in that tray. And then we've got the wiring loom, which comes up here. Oh my god, oh that's tricky. A lot of plugs on there to take through that hole, so I'll have a look, see if I can bring that from the back forward. And then we'll have a throttle cable here, which is that one. So the brake cable is remove that pin, so spring off, pin out, brake cable off, and then undo that adjuster, and that will come through. A bit tricky to film all this little slot here, so that cable will go out there, back out this way. Throttle cable, easy enough. Yeah, so that just slides off this end. Once you take the spring off, undo the adjuster, pop her out. So let's see if we can trace this wiring loom, which I can already see it here. Oh, and it comes up here, goes down there, and oh my god. So one wire goes the alternator, one to the starter solenoid, and then we have many off towards the, I'm going to say the injection pump. Oh, that's interesting. Got a dangly plug there. So you'll see I just took that linkage off of there, and I've just undone that screw, that spring, pulled the pin out the brake, which is giving me a floppy pedal, and then the linkage there, so I've just got to undo that there, which looks like a 17mm. Cool. It's a shame I didn't put them lights on plugs, because you know, you've got to take them off and run them through. That'll teach me. I'm just going to get my phone and record through that, just so I can see where everything is and where it goes, just to double check everything, my peace of mind later on. Bong. So now you'll see on the other end of this loom that comes through, I don't know if you see up there, and then it sneaks off down the back of the steering column and goes through that hole there. So I think if I undo that U-bolt there, and then that double there here, I think if I can just get away with undoing that one, I may be able to just slip it down there. We will see. Don't look like it's going to be easy to get them bolts out. Nothing is on here. Right, what we got? 17mm. Can't get to it either. Oh. Come on. Let's crack it. Oh. Cool, still my leg and back. A world of good this is. Oh. Oh my God. I think I can get away with cutting around the bottom of the chassis because that brake cable runs through the middle. It's not long enough anyway because obviously it's going to have to be extended 1200mm as well. Or I'm going to have to make some sort of linkage where that joins in the middle and I put a 1200mm linkage in it somewhere. Cut around the tray on the bottom and then I can cut through the top. I think I'm going to come... Oh, let's have a look where you can't see. Yeah, so that's the last set of holes in the floor, and then I'm going to do the cut in front of that ideally. So I think I'm going to come 25mm that side of the hole, 25mm, and then I think I've got to cut that, and then I want to come round at the top and cut through the top. I think that's going to be the safest approach on this one. Gonna have to get it up in the air a bit, lift it on trolley jack, bottle jacks, whatever jacks I can find, get it on axle stands. Trolley jack under there. Plan is to get that axle stand under the front. Still a tight squeeze, but I think I'll get in there. I've got the axle stand in the front centre. I'll get under there, get my marker pen, get my straight edge and my tape measure. Start marking her out. Just thinking about this. I can see the edge of that plate underneath runs about there. So if I went 25mm there and just discut through there, that line will be underneath, and then all I've got to do is transfer it around and square it off. Right, so 25mm from the centre there to there. 25mm from the centre. 25 from there to there. 83mm. I'll do that, 83mm. So that's a good start. Guess what? I'm learning. Every day's a school day. So I've just put a little cut through there, so underneath, if all's gone well, yes, I can see the cut there. I can there square that line through, do that same both sides, mat across the bottom, and then I'll cut the bottom. Trouble is, what that's going to try and do then is, say this is where I'm cutting it. As soon as I cut it, because the front's up in the air on an axle stand, it's going to try and do that while I'm underneath it. We don't want that, so I need to get some axle stands on here, prop up just this side of the cut line, and then that should stop it from, because that can't dip down. That's my theory anyway. Just like that, flat battery. Just like that. She's in half. So you can see a bit better there what I meant by the tray. So that's the main chassis rail, and it relied on these air pressings for its strength. So I don't think she's going to be too bad to extend. I think I could slide some box section in there and then in there. If I have a 1200 gap between that cut and that cut, both sides, then I'll just get a bit of sheet of metal pressed up, laid over the top, stitch it on. Happy days. So here's what's going on. I've cut a couple of 50 by 50 by 6 steel angles long enough to go underneath there and underneath there. Now you'll see that's at different heights, so I'm going to concentrate on getting all the back levels. So I've run a spirit level across the top of that chassis rail, and then I've run it on there to get the same level, so I know that's running parallel. So then once that's all tacked up that end, I can then lower that end down to there and clamp it up, and then I'll be able to run straight edge along that seal to that one to make sure we're running all in line. This hasn't got to be as accurate as a truck chassis going on the road. If this run out of square quite a bit, you'd probably never even realise. But I shall get it as square as I can, saying that anyway. So I'm now going to tack her up. What I've done, so I've run the spirit level on there as I just said, and then to make sure, as you can see under there, that's the top chassis rail that runs all the way to the back. So I've run it along there, and then what I've done, I've had a square, and then I've squared off of that there, so I can see that that is running in line that way as well, not running out. So just going to put some tacks on there. Please be careful, there will be some flashing images coming up. Close your eyes. People do say, can you put a screen up? But if I put it there, you're not going to see nothing over there. Too far away. If you're going to be looking at it, you've got to be quite close to it. So if I'm going to set that up, then I won't be able to see what I'm doing in this situation. So that is why I'm not doing that at the minute, but it is something I'm going to look into. got a lot of tacks on there. Now I know this is at the right height as well. I'm going to stitch a bit of steel off there to the floor, so I know I don't have to worry about it being the right height all the time. Lower the jack down. Perfecto mondo. Boom, baby, boom. Oh, you've got to be careful there because that's the diesel tank just the other side of that. Sketchy. What I've done, I've clamped that gap up there now. So I know that flat's running level with that chassis rail. So what I'll do, I'll re-spirit level that and then do that, make sure it's all running in line. Now I know I can see already this is running out side to side. So effectively this front end is further this way. So I've got to move it all that way. What I want to do is run a straight edge off the side there to there. As soon as that's running in line, I know it's in line, I can redo them clamps. I've done a lot of measuring backwards and forwards. I'm somewhere close now. I need my welding helmet on. I'm just going to plug the holes in the top. Mind your little eyes again. I'll plug the holes in the top and then I'll go underneath, tack it up from underneath to hold it all in position. Mind your eyes. And again. Do other side, just keep working my way around, doing a bit on each corner, and then I can work on making a new bit of centre chassis. These bits now, because it's going to be longer now, there'll be a bit of flex on there, so that'll stiffen it up, help out quite a lot. Over this side. I'd also advise you put proper welding gloves on rather than these. What's that you say? Why didn't I? I'm not the brightest spark at all times. Better. So you'll notice I only tacked on the top there, so I can just spin them off when I'm done. And then because them tacks are sharp, I shall get the grinder, just grind my smooth. It's made that fairly solid already. It's starting to look a bit different there. Old stretched limo. Should come out nice. I can already see it now. Alright, I'm just going to sand them tacks off just so I don't rub my hand along it and cut my hand. Always good practice. Right, I'll come back to you when I've got a game plan what my next move is. I struggle to get a sheet pressed up with that kind of finish on the end. So I might have to look at doing it a different way. I might have to do it in two because that'll give me a chance to weld a bit of flat inside all the way along. I'll get that bit pressed up, and then a flat sheet, and I'll get a full weld all the way down it. That may be the best option. I'm also going to have to extend this loom 1200mm, which is no problem. My brake cable's a bit short. So I'll find a way of sorting that out, and the same with the throttle cable. We get it though. And I've got to cut all these linkages out of here and move them up here once I've got a floorboard in. I'm going to put another 2 chassis rails in for a bit of strength. Hopefully, all goes to plan and I can get it to fit in there. Because, I don't know if you see that, but the chassis come off there and then it tapered in. So that's, I've got a 20mm gap there, so I'm going to have to V that out, which is unfortunate, but hey ho, needs must. Let me get them V'd out. I've got them in now, so I'm just going to weld them in. I'll be honest, I'll just cut a little V out of one edge, put it in the vise and bent the end round. I thought I was going to have quite a few stabs at it before I got it right. Turns out, got it right first go. So it's in there. You can see what I've done there now, so I've V'd it, bent it round so it followed that angle in there. Now I'm just going to put a floor in there, and then I can run my cables through and start extending all them. I'll get the cable side and the wiring loom all done, and then that'll just leave the throttle and the brake cable to sort out, and then it's sort of drivable then. Once I've got the material to put a floor in there, I can then start building the boxes for the seats and everything else. So I need to get on that, get that coming. Put an order in for that, I suppose. So luck be have it, I wanted a bit of sheet to put in there, and then I want to spray a bit of primer tonight, so when I come in tomorrow that's all dry, and then I can start running my loom through there. And I've just found this, which is exactly the right length. It's 50mm narrow, so I want to drop it in there, but it's 50mm narrow, but the insides of them flanges are what, 44mm, so it's 88mm. So it's not 100% going to sit right there, but you're never going to see that once the floor's in there anyway. But from underneath, it will look great, so I'm happy with that. It is a bit heavy. It is 5mm, I think that plate is. I'd much rather it's a bit of 3mm, but as they say, a beggars can't be choosers. Sat in there, so I'm now going to tack all that in. I'll let that cool down. I'm just going to give that a bit of primer in there tonight before I go home, so she'll be all dry, ready for morning. Oh yeah, she's sturdy. Well happy with that. Right, that's what the old girl looks like today.